Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Red Pill Diaries. And I'm here with my colleague, the incomparable Robin Hood of Wall Street, Gregory Mannarino. How's it going today, Greg? How is it going?
Man, I honestly am probably the one constant in an ever-changing universe. I'm doing pretty damn good, bro. I hope you are as well. And you gotta laugh, man, right? You gotta laugh with what's happening here today around the world, the economy, the markets, the freaking nightmare scenario we're walking into, bro. If you don't laugh, I mean, I don't know what to say. So you got to keep your head up. You got to keep your chin up, you know, and just remain diligent, man. And just like in your intro here, telling the truth today is a freaking revolutionary act. And thank God, really, for shows like yours, bro, because this is what we need. We really do. People got to start paying attention, and too many people have been turned into zombies. They have no idea what's going on, no conception of where we're going. World War III has already started. They don't know that. Anyway, we're going to talk more about this moving forward. But again, thank you for having me. Love being on your show. Love you, bro. And this is going to be fun.
Greg, you've been telling me this for at least 2 years now to watch the bond market. You've been telling me that America's debt continues to grow and that the Western so-called rules-based order needs debt to continue, and they will gobble up every nation and everybody, and they will try to make all of us into slaves. And when they become more desperate, they will take us to war. We're watching everything that you've been saying for about 2 years happening right now. What are your thoughts on the latest news in the bond market with the astronomical debt in the United States and the Western world and what they've just pulled off in Russia?
Well, look, man, they need another mechanism. I want people to understand something. If you take one thing away from this video here, right at the get-go, man, what we're talking about, the system, as we all understand, operates in a perpetual black hole. We are in a liquidity crisis on a scale we've never seen before. The paradox here is, even though today, and I've been talking about this same thing for a very long time, but people really got to start waking up to this. Even though the system is debt saturated, I mean, we've hit the moment of what I would call maximum saturation, and that's why we're seeing things kind of rapidly decompose like a corpse around us right now. Even though the world is debt saturated, there's not enough of it to keep the debt-based system functioning, meaning, and I've been warning about this since time immemorial here, they need another mechanism to allow cash to be pulled into the system, whether it's going to be a mechanism of artificially suppressed rates, which means currency devaluation, meaning the more the currency is devalued, the greater demand there is for the currency, because again, it takes more devalued currency, and if the euros or dollars in this case we're talking about it, to buy anything, even shares of stock or a pack of chewing gum or whatever the freak it is. But the bottom line is liquidity is drying up very, very fast. And I've been talking about this especially over the past maybe a year or two. The mechanism demands it. I mean, this is a lock that another mechanism be utilized or weaponized against you, me, and the people who are listening right now to allow the system to inflate. Look, central banks are the government of the world. They run it all. They run the monetary system, the financial markets, the financial system as a whole. Everything else is just a sideshow or a side effect. The bottom line is these institutions are the enemy. These institutions want us to think that we are each other's enemies. No, they are. They're the ones poisoning the world. They're the ones running the system. They're the ones who are destroying us via the mechanism of pumping debt into the system. It's an astonishing thing. Think about it. Maybe people that are new here. Central banks, well, we're going to focus here on the Fed, but they all do the same thing. They issue debt through one door in the form of their currency. The currency, these are not units of wealth. These are units of debt. Then they buy it back through another door, government debt. All this revolving door is, first of all, this revolving door is massively inflationary. People aren't supposed to know that. meaning inflationary. Currency purchasing power negative. You never hear that from the mainstream media. They talk about inflation. As a matter of fact, this morning I said, go talk to the average guy or the average girl on the street. What is inflation? Ask them. They're going to say, oh, prices are rising. Why are prices rising? Because the currency is being devalued. That's what inflation actually is, but people don't get it. Anyway, so this mechanism here, this revolving door, is how governments today are funding themselves, and they're running out of funds, and they're running out quickly. Again, the debt, and deficits must balloon faster, exponentially faster, just to maintain where we are. So another avenue, another mechanism, and it's probably going to be more war. War is their oldest trick in the book. To again, I used to say this, but my perspective has changed. Let me just describe this to people. War used to be the number one way uh, central banks were allowed to inflate. Again, think about the mechanism here. We don't have the cash to support wars. There's no stash of cash somewhere in some back room that they can use to fund war. It has to be borrowed into existence here. And who's more than willing to lend it? Well, it would be the central banks, in this case, the Federal Reserve. That's how they get stronger, by allowing this mechanism to go on and on and on and on and on. And it's again, the world today is in the same kind of a situation. It's not just the United States, it's a worldwide phenomenon. I've been telling people forever. Central banks have their bases in every continent around this world. It's a war of them against us, and they are winning right now because we have nobody here to take the bull by the horn to say enough is enough. We need a constitutional money system. We don't need to be the crypto capital of the world, which is Donald Trump's new. Well, we've been saying this since the presidential election here. Okay, we don't need that. We don't need to add a cryptocurrency to the U.S. strategic reserves. We need to add gold to the U.S. strategic reserves. That would put a roadblock right in front of the Federal Reserve. Won't happen. Won't happen. Again, the Fed is going to be free to inflate. And if they're going to use war, which used to be, again, the number one way that they could pull cash into the now, what that got taken over by was the scamdemic. The scamdemic pulled $3.6 trillion into the system, much more than war. Well, unless you have to factor on that war will go on and on and on. It may still be war. But they're not done here, bro. They're going to fling something else at us. It's already in the back. We're already in World War III. People have no idea what they're looking at here, but it's already started. Don't listen to me. Jamie freaking Dimon, the CEO of the largest bank by assets on this planet, I'm talking about JP Morgan here, he said, we're already in World War III. Take the man at his word. We're there. This is going to expand. They're going to splatter our blood, our guts, our hopes, and dreams from one corner of this earth to the other just to maintain this system. And again, what have I been telling people for years? They're going to drastically reduce the population on this planet. Maybe they're going to use war as a mechanism. They're bridging the system right now into the new tokenized system. It's being built right now. That's why we got the crypto president here. Why? He's been talking about making the United States the crypto capital of the world. Plus, this guy, I'm talking about Trump, is a proponent of negative rates, which now the ECB, European Central Bank, is now talking about possibly re-implementing because it worked so great last time. It's incredible what they're doing to us, but people have been so zombified, so divided. They have no clue as to what's going on. And worse than that, they don't hold anybody to account anymore. Nobody is held to account. You know me. During Obama's tenure, I blasted him. During Trump's tenure, I blasted him. During Bidenstein creature, I blasted him too. Blasted Harris. Look, I intend to call out these freaking things that are supposed to be our lovely, illustrious leaders for as far as the eye can see. No one's getting away with nothing on my watch. I'm going to tell people the way it is, whether they like it or not. If they don't like it, that's fine. A lot of people don't like my style, but that's not going to sway me from being who I am, man. If they can't handle the truth, again, the truth is the enemy in this society. Tell people the truth, bro. They hate your guts for it.
Yeah. And Greg, I want to go back to something that you just said, because you and I agree on this. There's not an election, there's a selection. But you said that we should not turn the system towards crypto. We should block the system with gold. Could you elaborate more on that? Because there are a lot of people who believe that crypto is the future, and that it has more utility and value than gold and silver now.
Well, hold on a minute. Let's just back up. Most people know me. I am a massive crypto advocate. I would have to say, a good amount of this stuff. Bitcoin's my number one holding here. I've been buying Bitcoin. I told people publicly that at 17,500 that I was buying, and I thought people should start putting their money to work in cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is now 92,000. Okay, lovely. It worked out pretty damn freaking well, but it's too simple. Yes, we're being pushed in that direction. There's no doubt about it. We can't stop what's coming here. But with regard to a fundamental monetary system, in my view, it needs to be backed by a commodity, something that's real, something that you can hold in your freaking hands here. But we look, there's, in my view, and I've been telling people this for the longest time, there's no way I know that we're going back into a commodity-backed system, which was a constitutional money system here. So what they're doing here, and especially now, I mean, this is one of the reasons why Trump was selected. Okay, number one and number two, I don't know which one you want to put. He's an advocate of negative rates. How do we know that? During his last tenure, he called, I love this word, he called the Fed boneheads. Boneheads, because they wouldn't go zero or negative with regard to rates here. Of course, that's massively purchasing power negative. He can't tell you that. Again, when Trump and then Kamala, who adopted Trump's idea, she stole it from him. When Trump said, "Hold on," during the run up to the selection here, "Oh, I promise you lower rates," did he back that up, saying, "Hold on a minute, guys, I have to let you know a little secret because you're probably too stupid to know. But if we lower rates, which is the Fed is doing now, that's the Fed's plan. Obviously, all central banks, what they want to do here to obviously inflate the system. If I lower rates here, I promise you lower rates. That means your purchasing power goes away." People would go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on a second here." They wouldn't like that. But again, it's omitted. It's a lie by omission. Do you realize that? I know you do. If you watch the presidential selection debate and the vice president selection debate, not one question, not one about monetary policy. Not one. I mean, come on, man. Are you kidding? Why? Because people can't be allowed to know what's going on. But anyway, going back to what we were talking about here. In my opinion, we need to return to a constitutional money system. That's how we win. If Trump is talking about adding cryptocurrency to the U.S. strategic reserves, which is massively positive for cryptocurrency investors, people like myself. A lot of other people invested in cryptocurrencies for quite a long time here. If, in fact, Trump would have said, "Hold on, guys, we're going to add gold, maybe both crypto and gold to the U.S. strategic reserves," that would stand as a roadblock to the Fed. The Fed doesn't want us to hold. They want to hold gold. But they don't want us, we the people, to have gold access. You understand? That's why we've been stripped away from that system here. So what do we know? I mean, people, do your own research. Central banks today are buying more gold than they've ever bought before in history. As a matter of fact, it gets even worse than that. Just yesterday, the Federal Reserve's own stock market indicator went negative for the first time in 10 years. The Federal Reserve does have a stock market indicator. It uses the S&P 500 earnings yield divided by the 10-year yield, comes up with a lovely number. That number just went negative for the first time in 10 years, which is pretty much going in line with my indicator, the MMRI, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator. I've been warning. Look at my last series of videos. Warning, 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 warning. And now we're getting the Fed own indicator as a warning. So understand, going back to what we were talking about, they won't allow it. Again, if Trump were to start adding vast amounts of gold to the U.S. strategic reserve, which is clearly what we need, it would stand in the way of the Federal Reserve. He won't allow this to happen. We heard all the nonsense last time. It's the same script, man. Oh, but people is floating around on the internet. Oh, Trump's going to end the Fed. Oh, he's going to take down the Fed. I said during the last 10 years, I said, watch what's going to happen. I said, you're going to see the Fed get monumentally stronger, not weaker. Well, that's exactly what happened here. That's exactly what's going to happen again. We have a guy now sitting behind the Resolute desk. Let's put Kamala Creature aside. Okay, she's gone. Don't matter no more. We have a guy sitting here who was placed behind the Resolute desk to do two things. One is proponent of negative rates, which we very well may get because the ECB is talking about it right now. I've been saying that before from weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Number two, he's building the bridge into the new tokenized system, which we can't sidestep. Again, There's just no way out of it. That's why he was selected. I'm not saying he's the guy that's going to issue it in. He's building the bridge. This is all on a timeline. These presidents are selected years in advance. They already know who the next guy is going to be, and the next guy is going to be after that. It's all a timeline of how they want to move the public in one way or the other. And what worries me, Rashid, is the event. There must be a triggering event to allow the Fed to inflate further. Again, we're running out of cash. We're out of it already. We're completely broke. We're in a debt vacuum here. What are we up to? 36, 37 trillion at face value, not counting derivatives. Okay, that's unfreaking believable. But even though that, they need more. The system must be fed. It must be fueled. And they'll do anything, bro. They will destroy us. They'll kill us. They'll murder us. They'll splatter our guts all over this planet to grease the wheels. To them, to those that really run the world, there's the central banks, of course, here. We're nothing but a means to an end, bro. And I know we're much more than that. But that's all they look at us as, is a means to an end. And unfortunately, people are paying for it. They're going to pay for it a lot more. We're moving back into a neo-feudal system here. The middle class is being systematically eradicated. I mean, and no one can deny that. I mean, anywhere you live in the world, it's an eradication. And meanwhile, the 1% and 2%ers are thriving. More millionaires and billionaires have been created under the last 3 presidents, soon to be this guy too again, than we've ever seen in history. So again, how are they working for the middle class? They ain't working. The middle class is being wiped out. Wealth is being pushed higher, right up to the 1% and 2%ers, the elites, the money changers, the banks. And that's where it's going, bro, unfortunately. And it's just, it's not going to stop. And people are not awake enough to do a damn thing about it, unfortunately.
Do you think that with the plans that they have in place, that they're rushing or they're hurrying up this plan for a feudal system where there are 2 classes of people, like you explained to me about a year or 2 ago, about how they want to have and the have-nots, and they want us the have-nots to be preoccupied with things that really don't matter while they consolidate power and wealth.
It's all about consolidation of power. Why again, that's another reason why Trump was selected here. During Trump's last tenure, he instituted or signed into law historic bank deregulation. Okay, banks are the enemy, in my view. They're predatory. I think most people would agree with that. I've been warning for a long time that we're going to see a consolidation of the entire banking system. So we're seeing now more talk of bank deregulation, deregulating cryptocurrency, merging the two. This is to build the bridge to the new tokenized system as well. I mean, there's so many facets to this, but it's so easy to see. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. But there's no doubt about it. But they're pushing us faster off of a cliff in many, many ways here, to institute this neo-feudal system. Extreme haves, extreme have-nots, and the middle class is around. I've told people probably for 10 years, if you are currently a member of the middle class, which is quickly evaporating, you have a tattoo on your face in the shape of a target. You're being targeted. You're being weaponized. The wealth continues to be pushed up to the 1% and 2%. It's the nature of the system. What people don't understand is they've been sold an economic lie for as far back as they want to go. You want to look at every single so-called developed economy in this world. They'll utilize the same system. Trickle-down economics. Let's make the rich richer. The Elon Musks, whoever they are. Let's make those people richer. And by doing that, we all do better. It doesn't work that way. The creation of new money, okay, is again, this mechanism of pushing more debt into the system benefits the 1% and 2%ers the most because they're the closest to the money. They have access to the new cash before everybody else does. Now, as the cash makes its way through the economy to us low lifes on the bottom, that's how they look at us. They look at us as low lifes. As it trickles down to us, the currency has already been massively devalued. And then we have to deal with the crap. You understand? But this mechanism, again, this is not just here in the United States. Every single developed nation living under the rulership of a central bank all has the same mechanism. To change this, we need to, I've been broadcasting this right now freaking long now. We're getting promised lower rates. That's the Federal Reserve's plan, central bank's plan to artificially suppress rates, currency destruction. We need the polar opposite. We need much higher rates. We need a much stronger currency. You see, look, there are two and only two, and I really urge people to look this stuff up, okay? In finance and economics, it all boils down to two fundamental truths. Number one, let me know if this makes sense to anyone that's listening here, okay? To have a strong economy, you need a strong currency. Does that sound about right? I think we're on the same page. To have a strong currency, you need a corresponding rate of interest high enough to support the purchasing power of the currency. Can I get a duh? Dude, does this make, you see, you're laughing. You're laughing because you know it's so fundamentally true and so obviously logical that, I mean, you got to laugh at it, but that's not what we have. We have a system here where we're being promised lower rates, where we have the Fed who's more than happy to keep rates lower. Why? Because they allow, you see, look, people don't understand that central banks can't wave a magic wand. Let's say, all right, we got a rate cut recently from the Fed. We got two recently. I think they're going to pause it, but we'll talk about that in a second if you want to. But anyway, so the Fed you can't just float out Creature Powell where he goes, okay, everyone, we're going to lower rates here. And all of a sudden he just, says a few magic words or whatever he do, and it doesn't work like that. For the Fed to keep rates low or any central bank, they have to create currency, just add digits to a screen, click, 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 and then they buy the debt that keeps rates suppressed. That's obviously purchasing power negative. Where's the uproar? Where's the outcry? Nowhere. I want people to look, think back. I'm older than probably most people who are listening to this, and that's fine. I'm almost 60. I'm 59. Okay. I remember 20, 30 years ago when we had much higher rates, when we had a much stronger currency. It only took one income to support a family in a nice house with a brand new car and your kids in nice clothes. Today, because of this mechanism of trickle-down economics, which obviously doesn't work, and we're getting it worse now here. I mean, come on, man. It's a no-brainer. We got to go back to a time where the currency was stronger, where there were higher rates, but you're not going to be told that. We're going to be sold every manner of lie. Again, the truth is the enemy in this environment, as you well know on your intro there. It's unbelievable, but that's what's going on. We're being wiped out, bro. This is a systematic extermination event on a global scale.
I want to play something for you, Greg. It's about I'm not going to play the whole clip. It'll be short, but this is about an economic professor, and this was on Russia Today before they banned Russia Today, and it took place about 10 or 12 years ago, something like that. And with the economic, when you see the video with the economic barometers today, more dire, it seems like to me that there is no way, no possibility for the West to get out of the economic situation that they're in, specifically with America. And let me just play a piece of this just for you to hear understand what I'm talking
Lawrence
about.
Kotlikoff, economics professor at Boston University. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
It's great to be with you and great to be in Russia.
So you're the one who states that America is broke and is even in a worse state than Greece and Ireland. How so? What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, we economists look at all the bills the government has to pay, and in the U.S. case, we have enormous bills that have been kept off the books that are not official debts, but they're very real. For example, paying me my social security benefits, my old age pension, that's a real obligation. It's not part of official government debt, but it's very important because there are 78 million baby boomers who are going to get these Social Security payments and, in addition, medical payments from the government. If you look at all those payments, they're about $3 trillion a year. So we have these huge bills. Nobody has thought about paying for them. And Congress and the presidents over the years have just focused on official debt and basically have not told the public about these big bills.
You said the amount of the fiscal gap in the United States is in your estimation, $222 trillion. Is this right?
222 trillion. If you
Right.
take
This is like an astonishing number, which is like 3 times the world's GDP. This is more than what the world makes.
20 times higher than the official debt in the hands of the public, which is 11 trillion. So if you add all these spending obligations.
About that was 10 or 15 years ago, and that was when they were saying that the official debt was $11 trillion, and now they're saying the official debt is $37 trillion. So, I mean, it seems like to me that there's a mathematical impossibility for the debt to be paid off, so there must be a trigger for something else.
Well, the debt's never meant to be paid back. It's the nature of the system we have. We have a debt-based system. And that's why I was saying we need to return to a constitutional money system, which is a wealth-based system. And when we were robbed of that wealth-based system, again, it creates a moment of prosperity until it runs out, until we run out of, again, the Ponzi scheme. You have to understand, and I know you do. You're probably one of the few guys that understand this. They're running central banks around the world, none more so than the Federal Reserve, is in the literal sense running a Ponzi scheme. And to keep the Ponzi going, they have to continue to issue debt in the form of currency and come up with any reason imaginable to keep it going. Let me elaborate a little further on what that gentleman was talking about. The United States is literally run like a corrupt corporation in many ways. Every single corporation has 2 balance sheets. They have a public balance sheet, all the stuff that people are allowed to see. Then they have a separate balance sheet, which is only the off balance sheet, off books kind of stuff that goes on kind of over here, where the public isn't allowed to know about this. And this is the same story for every single corporation here. It's that's why you can't trust anything here that we're seeing anymore. There's nothing makes sense at all. Now going and to take this to the next level, what this gentleman was talking about was face value debt. He talked about, again, the U.S. debt at face value. And then he talked, again, what they're allowing us to see, not off balance sheet stuff. And then that woman brought up global GDP, again, at that point, whatever number they threw up, 222 trillion or whatever it was here. But when you hear a face value number like that, you have to understand, you have to factor in the associated derivatives. There are derivative bets on either side. That's another reason why we're being led into this tokenized system where everything is going to be reduced into a derivative. But if you take the face value of whatever the debt actually is, and then you were to just guesstimate, and I'm just throwing this out here as a guesstimate of what the actual debt would be, it's probably, on either side of that number, there's at least 9 layers of derivatives. So you're looking at 20 times higher. Again, that's kind of what the guy was talking about there. It's 20 times higher than what they're letting us know. Again, the public can't be allowed to know these things. But the other thing is here, you have to understand, and I know you do, people are deliberately kept in the dark. For example, I promise you lower rates. This came out of the mouth of Trump, adopted by Kamala. She said, hey, that's a great idea. Let me do the same thing that Trump is. When Trump said he was the crypto king, remember that? What did Kamala do? I'm the crypto queen. They were both vying for the same spots. Credible, isn't it? you got to laugh. But anyway, the lie by omission, by telling people, hey, you know what, I'm going to make sure you get lower rates is, guess what, you idiots? You're also going to get your currency purchasing power sucked out. Lie by omission. They can't tell people the truth, man. It's just such a sick thing. But the fact of the matter is, look, the debt-based economic system that we have is a curse upon mankind and womankind on this planet Earth here. That's why I am so angry when I first heard Trump talk about making the United States the crypto capital of the world, one bell goes off in my head. Hey, great. This is going to be awesome for my crypto investments, for which it has. Okay. The other side of the equation is, well, hold on a second. We're going to be the crypto capital of the world. Why not the constitutional money? You want to make us both? I'm all for it. But no talk, zero, about adding gold to the U.S. strategic reserves. Let's add crypto. I mean, dude, it's insanity. But people, again, what do? They've been silenced. They've been silenced because, first of all, they don't know how to speak out. I really believe that there's a condition called learned helplessness. It goes back to Pavlov's dog. I want people to look this up. When people feel like they are powerless to change anything, they do nothing. They submit. They get down on their freaking knees and they submit to the system. And unfortunately, that's what we have now. And I've been saying over the past few weeks, people are now leading themselves into the slaughter. They were being led into the slaughter. Now they're doing it themselves, willingly, more so after the presidential selection. It's an incredible thing to see, bro. But we got to do our best, and both of us are, to educate people to what's happening. Understand, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to hear this stuff, and they're going to take exception to it. They're going to get angry because they think there's a new God that was just been put behind the resolute test. It's an unbelievable situation here. But the truth of the matter is being destroyed from within, and that mechanism is going to get a lot worse, a lot faster moving forward. Despite all the talk to the contrary, it's almost the same exact thing that we saw last time, unfortunately. And people were led to their own demise, but now they're leading themselves. It's a terrible thing to see.
So, Greg, what do you say about those who have put their faith in these political figures, the Kamala side who lost, and the Trumpers or the I guess they call them now the America's First or the MAGAs? What is your take on this? Because I believe it's all political theater.
Dude, it's politics. It's politics. Anyone that's not putting their faith in God Almighty first is going to lose, and is going to lose massively. Okay, I believe that with all I got. We've already been told that God, He's a jealous God, right? He'll take His revenge on you whether you like it or not. We don't. There's no other gods besides God. Period. The freaking end. And there are some people. Dude, you have no idea. You probably get the same thing as me. Greg, Trump was sent here by God. Trump. I really swear to you, I've gotten this. Trump is divine. Greg, you don't understand here. He's the second coming of Christ. I've gotten this stuff written to me. You don't understand, Greg. You don't understand what's going on. But that scares me a little bit, and not for these people, because they're in a lot of trouble.
Do you think that with the coming wars that more of the political theater will become more apparent to others? Because, like you said, there's learned helplessness, and I believe sometimes when you are in such a condition, most people, they shut down and they prefer illusion to despair, and I believe that this is what the government is pushing on the masses of the people to force them into helplessness and to rely more and more on the government. But the government itself is to me is a facade. It is run by these backroom dealers or whatever. What do you say about the people that are shutting down because there's so much coming? Crypto, gold, Trump, Kamala, the strikes in Russia, the warning by Russia, NATO doing. I mean, it's so much. Some people, they can't. They are not built in a way to handle this or to consume everything that's going on. So they just shut down. What do you have to say to those people and about those people?
Well, that's part of the mechanism too. I've been telling people they're creating dependency on the system. They're creating slaves to the system, and part of that is they have to mentally shut people down. That's a really good way of putting it. I haven't heard it put that way before, but it's a fact. They got to shut people down somehow. So information overload, and then what people are going to do is they're going to turn it off, and that's another mechanism. They can't handle it. They turn it off. They go about their own business. But the thing is, what's really kind of, and this is going on for a very, very long time, they keep people are struggling right now. They can't make ends meet, as I said, and it's a direct result of artificially suppressed rates and currency devaluation. People are struggling because of this mechanism, and then they're told, blame this person, blame that person. It's so-and-so's fault. It's these people's fault why we are in the economic situation we are. Every mechanism of deception is going to be utilized and has been to keep people's eyes off the ball. Again, not one question about monetary policy during the presidential clown show debate here. Again, People need to assign blame. When something goes wrong, they need a political figure to say, there is your problem. But they can't point their finger, and they won't, at the Federal Reserve, who is the root cause of it. It's got to be this person's fault, this group of people's fault. They have to find a scapegoat, because then people, again, it's about assigning blame. Assign the blame, and then tell people, I'm the person that's going to fix it. This is how politics work. And it's always the same game, unfortunately. And do people need any proof that we are losing? I mean, this is the thing. They don't wake up, bro. They don't wake up. And more war is coming. I really believe that this is what more than likely what they're going to use to as an excuse to pull more cash into the system. But what bothers me, it scares me more than anything else, is they need a triggering event. What's that? Is it going to be a nuclear attack somewhere? Is it going to be a terrorist attack here in the United States to get everyone out there waving their flags so they can borrow more cash, pull more cash into existence, so we can go slaughter people in another part of the world here, demonize a country, a nation, a particular group of people? Dude, goes back as far back as you want to go. This is nothing new. This is how the few have controlled the many since Cain and Abel. Since before that, it just doesn't stop. And people they can't wake up. And again, it's because they're shutting themselves down, just like you said. A really great way of putting it.
Gerald Salente, he says that when they lose when they're losing everything, they usually take us to war. And now we're getting reports that after being warned directly by the foreign ministry and the president of Russia himself about a response if attacker missiles were used to hit Russia, we saw just 2 days ago Zelensky say that the missiles will speak, and we see that Joe Biden, they say Joe Biden, but we know that this man is out there on planet 2021, and that everybody else is calling the shots.
Yeah.
So what do you think that may be a triggering event? Because Vladimir Putin has already warned a response, and we see this morning that five attackers were shot into Russia. All five were hit. 4 was downed. 1 hit the debris from the 5th one hit a military facility without causing damage, just brief fire, and no one was injured. Do you believe now that may be one of the events to take us to that war, so that they can print up more money or bring in, as you like to say, create out of thin air money for the system?
Absolutely. Look, I said from maybe a month or two ago here, look, there's a real threat here. The BRICS alliance, the Federal Reserve will not give up the ability to have the world reserve currency without slaughtering millions of people. If that means they're going to take us into a nuclear event, I've been telling people, and I know you follow my work for many years, and I've taken a lot of heat for this, but I believe what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it again. They want to and will drastically reduce the population of this world. If they need to do that via the mechanism of a nuclear holocaust, a nuclear war, that's what they're going to do. Control. It's all about control. Henceforth, the bridge into the new tokenized system. It's all about control. And to control, it's a lot easier to control a much smaller population than what we have now. We still represent a threat, but people have been so conditioned, so dumbed down, so shut down, as you alluded to just a little while ago. They got people exactly where they want them. They've created a zombie apocalypse, it's the truth, where people don't know which end is up, down, inside, or out, and we're being thrust into a certain future, not into an uncertain future. We're seeing the bridge to the new system. We're seeing war around the world. If people are not awake right now, they're really, I think they probably are beyond any kind of hope. But the fact of the matter is, there's not enough people like you, me, and the people that follow our work to really make a difference anymore. I mean, it makes me always comes back to this. If you and I had a show where we were eating Tide Pods or licking public toilet bowls, we would have millions of followers, millions and millions and tens of millions of followers. People want that kind of stuff. Again, they need to be entertained like a circus. But you hit people with this kind of stuff, a lot of people are going to shut off, but not everyone. And the people that have gotten through this video, which is now going on for 41 minutes, if they're still with us right now, these are the people that get it. These are the people that you and I, and all of us here. Look, I tell people all the time, my blog isn't my blog. It's our thing. You too. Your blog, you may be kind of like the leader out here, but it's all these people here. It's us, and we're responsible for each other. I tell you, I also believe this, man. Whatever happens in one part of the world affects every single one of us because of the divine energy that encircles this entire world. We're all divinely created. It's the same force. If we allow this to happen to certain people in one part of the world, we all pay for it. Why do you think people are suffering from depression, anxiety, mental illness here? Physical illness is brought about by stress. When I was in school, I had to study, it was a topic, psychoneuroimmunology. What a word, huh? The effects of stress on the immune system. Why do you think we're seeing people get cancer the way they are right now? Again, yes, we're being poisoned by the food and the air and everything else as a mechanism also. But it goes so far beyond that, man. What you and I talk about is stuff, again, at face value, which is pretty obvious to see. But it goes way, way beyond that, at least in my perspective. And I think you're on the same page as well. We got to take care of each other, man. We got to make the right alliances. We got to realize that, we can't allow these things to happen. And if we do, are we not complicit? Are we not complicit by speaking out? But people don't. They've been silenced, bro. And I want people to start speaking out, hold people to account, because if we don't, whoever the next presidential selectee is going to be, they're going to get away with it too. People right now that are so, again, they're the indoctrinated, that, again, the Kamala supporters for which she lost. She didn't lose anything. She was just not selected. Trump was selected here. Now they got those legions of people. They won't call him out. They don't have the guts to do it. The man could do it. The man could stomp on their face and they would say, "Thank you, sir. Let me have another." That's how bad it's gotten here, bro. It's crazy. But people got to start understanding that we need to change things, and we need to change. It's probably too late, bro. But again, I think that there are those people here, and I would believe that's you, me, and the people that follow our work. They're going to have the best chance of getting through what's coming, because we're being thrust into it. And I mean this. I want to underscore this 1,000 times. A worst case scenario, the worst possible case scenario, and we are right there now. So people better start waking up.
In closing, Greg, I want two more things. First of all, you said that what is going to take place, and you said it last show, you said it before, you've been saying this to me for a long time. You said what's going to take place will be biblical, the loss of life on the scale that is biblical, unseen before. And are we talking about now military and economics? Because you said that when the system collapses, it will be like a nuclear bomb exploding with the massive loss of life.
Well, let me just say this, man. What the issue of the system, the financial system, is, again, it's this liquidity issue that we have. They're going to bring the system to its knees again by a credit freeze, a locking up of the system here, which is going to cause pandemonium in the streets. But you have to understand something else. With war comes disease. If in fact they unleash a nuclear attack anywhere, what this does is it shuts down everything. The sewer systems, the sanitary systems all get shut down, and disease starts to spread. I wouldn't be surprised to see war utilized with another kind of a scamdemic, probably something a lot worse. I think they're going to utilize. See, last time what they did was they had us wear little, you had to wear the face get up here. I don't want to say this stuff because they don't want this stuff out here on the internet. You had to, that's what they did. But this time, I think it's going to be something disfiguring. a disease process where they're going to force people into getting one of these new warp speed things, which I'm sure they have developed already, a new disease process, something disfiguring, and it will be an outshoot of war, disease, death. What are they going to do, bro? This is biblical. This is biblical. What we're seeing here, just like you alluded to just a little while ago, a locking up of the credit system. Again, the worst case scenario would be a nuclear exchange on one type or the other here, disease as a result of a shutting down of the system, pandemonium in the streets, martial law. This is probably where we're going. It looks like that. The writing is already being sketched onto the wall. So this is why I tell everyone every Friday, bro, and I hope you do the same thing. Tell people they got to come together. I tell people, love each other, care about each other, be charitable to each other. Don't allow their mechanism of divide and the fostering of hatred control your mind, because then we all lose. Man, I'm preaching to the choir. I get it, but I think people need to be more mindful of this.
And closing, following up on what you said, I was reading a few days ago about the very thing that you just mentioned about a disfiguring disease. And now they're talking about monkeypox have reached the United States. And it's ironic that they were saying that they have been monitoring it in Uganda. And it just so happened to be in the same area where the U.S. biolabs are. And now they're saying that the monkeypox are a disfiguring deadly disease that has now been found to be in 2 or 3 states. Could this be one of the triggering effects that you're talking about to this another scandemic on top of war?
Absolutely, it could be. I wouldn't be. Nothing would surprise me. I want people to come away from listening to some of this interview, this talk we're having here, not with fear, but with a different perspective, and understand that they need to take action. It's really what it's all about. I know a lot of people listen to this kind of stuff and they say, oh, this is doom and this is gloom. It's reality. That's number one. Number two is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? People going to go off somewhere and suck their thumb, or are they going to take action and do something about it and break out of their sleeping slumber? Bob Marley, Wake Up and Live. Wake Up and Live. I'm a huge Marley fan. Anyway, I listen to Bob Marley probably all day long. It's the truth, bro. I mean, the man is like probably one of the greatest musicians and I think individuals that ever lived. But anyway, besides all that, and we got to wake up and live, man. Like Bob Marley says, one love. Like Bob Marley said, I mean, the guy was telling us something back in his time. He's dead more than 4 decades. It's hard to believe. But anyway, it's crazy. Anyway, look, man, yeah. So absolutely, disfiguring disease. Why disfiguring? Because they need people to see it. You couldn't see it; it was invisible before. We maintained 6 feet distance from everyone else here. You see, you're laughing because it's just so true. But imagine seeing lesions on someone. People be running the opposite way. They get these lesions on themselves, running off. Oh, I don't want to get those lesions. I got to go get my whatever it is. You got to be careful here. So, but they already have it. They already have all this stuff. Why do you look under Trump last time? Scandemic, okay? War, disease, scandemic, shutting down of the financial system to issuing the new one as the bridge is being built. Dude, man, the writing's on the wall. People can't see this stuff. They're absolutely freaking blind, man. They're absolutely blind.
Man, Greg, once again, thank you for joining me on the platform, man, because you didn't have to and you did it. I really, really appreciate it.
No, I love being with you, man. I love being on your show. I really do.
I really appreciate it, man. I want to thank you for joining me and everybody. We had the top, in my opinion, one of the top financial guys that's reality based on YouTube. Everybody else is giving you this Kudlow stuff that is out of the world. But Greg, he gives you something that you can picture, that you can see, that's something that's tangible. And I invite everybody to go sign up to his site. Greg, give them your information, your website.
Yeah. But traderschoice.net, yeah, go. Look, I'm easy to find, man. Just Google me. I'm everywhere. Easy to find, Greg Mannarino. Ain't a hard guy to find. And look, man, just people pay attention to your work, my work. There's a lot of people out here trying to make a difference, man. That's what it's all about. I just want to do one thing, man, and just like you, make a positive difference in this world. That's it, man. I don't care about anything else. That's why I feel I'm here. I feel like honestly that's my mission, and I want to make it happen. I'm trying my hardest, man. I really am, and so are you.
Yeah. And be blessed, man. And let me say this to everybody else as we go off the show. As I often end the show, always remember to do right by others, not because there may be some financial gain or because other people may see it, but do right by others because it's the right thing to do. Because even when no one else is watching, remember that God Almighty always has his eyes stayed on you. And know, like I say, that always remember that if you love truth, I love you. But know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that God has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, stay righteous. Hey, mama, look at me. Your baby boy still loves you more than life. Deuces, everybody. We're out of here. Peace.